Hey, what's going on, everyone? Just gonna do some more comparisons, and you always have the players that say, "Hey, use this ship against the Legion boss. Use the Thor main gun. No, use the Conqueror." And so I'm going to do some tests with the Conqueror. I'm going to do it with the Phantom, and I'm going to do it with Sirene, just to kind of put this to rest for me. Now, this isn't going to be perfect because depending on the levels of each one of those ships, you could have a different result. So these are generalized videos, but I'm just going to do what I have and do the comparison and see which ships throughout the rest of this week to see which ship works better for the Legion boss. But again, this does depend on, your levels, the levels of the ships, and there are a couple factors into this. And when somebody says, "Hey, this ship does better," and then my Conqueror does better, I mean, right there is kind of telling you why, this can be a little bit generalized. But I think it'd be a pretty cool little video, and let's just kind of see what happens. And I'm going to show you guys. We will use the Conqueror. Now, a couple of players have been like, "Why don't you use the spread gun? Because if you're using Thor for hitting more targets, why wouldn't you use the spread gun? And wouldn't that give you a bigger score than the actual single firing line of the Vulcan cannon?" Now, the Vulcan cannon for the Conqueror is very powerful. And so maybe we can do a test between those two, and then we can try Sirene and Phantom. But there's a lot of moving parts. Hopefully, I can just get this right and just get a just generalized idea of what's going on. So right here, we'll do the Conqueror first, since I'm already in the Conqueror. We'll go to the Legion boss, and we're going to challenge it. Now, I am going to use basically each ship's power moves is what I'll call that. And so, or transformations or forms or whatever you want to call it. But let's go ahead and just do a couple of tests here as if I was trying to get a high score. Now, I'm not going to hold back here necessarily, meaning, again, I'm going to do everything I can to get the high score at each one of these forms with the ships. So, and then I'm going to do something else for you guys too. I'm going to go back. Now, this is a ground Legion boss. And with ground, you're going to want to have your ground missiles, and you're going to want in your technologies. Now, this is kind of where it gets a little tricky, especially, if you're just trying to get the high score on a ground boss, that you guys can be resetting your technology all the time, trying to fit in to an aerial so if you're playing this throughout the week and you're doing your Titan, which is an aerial Titan, but you're doing a ground Legion boss, but you want those points, extra points, then you are going to be resetting your technology a lot, and I will go over that here in a little bit. And I'll show you my technologies as promised. So I am going to do the transformation here. Now, the reason why you don't see me go up with the Conqueror as soon as I do this is because the Conqueror itself with the missiles, if you count, when that missile goes out with the little ball, if you count, they will go 4 to 5 times up the screen, and you want those missiles to be maximized by being at the bottom. So just to explain that just better to you guys, that's why you don't, in your transformation, even want to necessarily. Now, you could do this a little bit different. You might have seen it in my Titan, to where you can let the ball missile go out, fly up the screen, hit the core, come back down before the missile hits, and just kind of do it that way. And it's a little debatable if you get a little bit more points, but it does make a little bit more sense if you do it that way, because you are maximizing the firing line of basically your transformation main gun, the way it spreads out. And some argue that you can get better points with the wing gun, and the wing gun comes out faster by doing that. So little in between on that. Maybe I'll do that on the next one to show you guys. But right here, that's pretty admirable. What'd you guys say? 164.6 billion with the spread main gun of Conqueror. That's not bad. But as promised, I kind of skipped to that. But here is my technologies. Now, if I'm doing a Legion boss specifically and not the Titan, I know I'm not going to get hit, and I know I'm going to try not to, be killed. So you don't see me put any defense on specifically for the Legion boss. Now, if I'm going after Titan, that's going to be, pinning on the Titan. I'm going to do either a ground reduction in damage from the ground or the aerial, and then I'm going to put reduced damage from bosses. Me personally, I try not to go past 35 or 40 percent on those, and I'll tell you one of the biggest reasons is if you have too much defense, you will lose points. If you have too much offense, you will lose points. So I found a pretty cool little in between to do between 35 and 40 if you have the tech points, but you want to even these out depending on what level of player you are. You want to even that out a little bit from what I said, depending on how many coins and stuff that you have. But these are very expensive, extremely expensive, and that's another reason why you don't want to blow all of your money and all of your stars into the defense either, is of how expensive it is. Now, I am on a ground, so I did set my technologies to ground specifically. So right here, I had the extra points, it is also a boss that we're doing. So you see I have points in there. I could have evened that out just a little bit, but this is just giving you an idea. If it's an aerial, then I would take my ground off and do the same thing with the aerial, then the boss. And then here, of course, I had the technologies, so I was able to maximize my main gun. And again, it's still debatable on if the attack rate works outside of the Titan, but when you're doing the Titan with the Conqueror, it is a known fact that the hit rate the attack rate does not do anything to the Titan. So I don't really invest a lot of my tech points into that, and that's why you always see me not do the attack rate, especially with the Conqueror. Now, other ships, your attack rate does work. So it's a little debatable on what you guys want to do with that technology. And then, of course, we all know that the wing gun on the Titan and the Legion boss is the weakest. So I don't put a lot of tech points. Normally, I'd put a little bit on there, but for this purpose, I just maxed out basically what I know is working, the missiles and basically the main gun. And then you always want to try to max out as much as possible your armor base. But here in this case, just doing the Legion boss, I probably didn't need to do that. Because why? I'm trying not to get hit anyways. So, but if you're doing the Titan, you're going to want to max out that armor base. Again, between 35 and 40 if you have the tech points on your defense. And even out basically, me personally, I'll do at least with my tech points. Now, again, newer players, you're going to want to even this out to what your tech points are. Just try to even it out to what mine looks like. So don't 100% max anything out. If you have low tech points, just kind of even out what you're seeing. But again, if I was doing Titan, I always am going to have the boss damage, and the Legion boss is a boss. You heard how I said that. So you guys always want to have it look like this. But again, if you're doing aerial or if you're doing ground, that's going to be a big difference in how you do this. So, but just to show you my tech again here, I promised everybody I'd kind of give a little explanation on that. If I go to talent, here's my gym setup, guys. And so if I go over here, here it says fighter against ground enemies attack. And so realistically here, here's a boss, and realistically I should have these change. Well, here it is right here. Fighter against ground enemies attack. So you can see I have the boss and I have the ground. Some will be debatable if you should just do all ground gems. For me, it's still a boss because it's a boss. So I have higher gems in my boss, and these are my best gems as far as my ground. So I'll kind of mix those up, but it's a little debatable. Should you just do boss all the way across on the boss? Should you throw in the ground? I think you just use your best gems, and you can kind of mix and match those and kind of play with that. But do make sure that you have the ground gem to a ground boss. Do go in there and change that. So now that you guys saw my gems here, basically I am set up more into a Star Scramble and Planet Wars. You guys can see I have all my dodge on there, which isn't bad anyways. And then I have my missile attack, and then in my other cabin I have main gun attack. So now you guys get to see my gems, and of course, again, if it's aerial, use aerial gems. If it's ground, use ground. If your boss gems are beating all of them together, again, just put in what's smart and what is going to be your biggest damage from your gems here. So, but for this purpose, I went ahead and just put in my ground one so that you guys can see I am using the ground. Now, we're going to go back to the Legion boss. And so we use the spread weapon against this ground Legion boss. And this time, let's step it up with the Conqueror, and let's use the Vulcan cannon version of this. And so I'm going to challenge this. And again, you'll never see me really pick that. I've tried it a zillion times with the wing gun, and you're going to lose points. I don't care what player you talk to, and they say it works. It doesn't. So you're always going to see me skip over the wing gun in this phase of going after a Legion boss or a Titan. And so I'm going to super missile and super main gun every single time. Do not super your armor, especially if you're not getting hit. Why would you do that anyways? So let's go ahead and do this again. Now we're going to put the actual Vulcan cannon on versus, I just call it the spread cannon. And so right here, you want to make sure that you're actually hitting something. Now, you have to be a little bit more deliberate with this version of the main gun. And if you see there's the two back little portions that you can hit there. And you'll see I'll just go back and forth to these. And I'm kind of getting hit on purpose. I didn't really buff the armor. And of course, if you buff your armor in the Conqueror, you do get an attack bonus with that. And so right here, guys, see how the missiles are traveling up? And this is what I was saying you can do also. But see how my spread is now fully hitting? But come down, let the missiles go up, and see how my spread is now hitting the core? And so that's a little debatable on if that, it just makes more sense to do it that way. But right here with the Vulcan cannon straight, look at that versus the spread. Now, again, everybody would say, well, with the spread, you're hitting more targets. Shouldn't you get a bigger score with that? And right there, 195.8 with the Vulcan straight cannon. I mean, that's pretty dang good. I'm definitely not complaining about that, but there's the Conqueror. Now, on this Legion boss, most players are going to say the Conqueror is the best to use on this Legion boss. On the other Legion bosses, someone's going to say Sirene. Some are going to say, again, Phantom. So me in these tests, I just wanted to just do all three ships just to see which one's going to be, good for me, but also give the test for you guys to test. But again, depending on your levels, depending on the levels that you have these ships, this can change. So I think it's just up to you to maybe, follow this test and test it out for yourself. That's another reason why I'm showing this, is you guys can go and do these tests yourself. So the next big one is everybody's really into the Thor main gun. And the reason why the Thor main gun is because it hits even more multiple targets on the screen. So you're going to see I'm going to give a refund on this. I already have my Phantom built up all the way. I'll show you guys here. I do have it maxed, which is pretty cool. And so I am going to go to do the Phantom test here. We will select this one. Make sure you select these, because sometimes I start talking and I'll forget to select it, and then I'll say, why isn't that ship there? So be sure to select these. And then the other tip, so right here, guys, okay, so the reason why you saw me level down my main gun was not only to get my stars back, but here's my Thor. If you look at my Thor, it's at 1 to 230. Now, I say this in a lot of these videos to you guys, you do need to auto upgrade these to the max for this to work better. Do not, so when you go into the Legion boss, and here's what we're going to do. So there it is. Okay, so when you go into the Legion boss, a lot of players think just because you super something that it gives you the full potential. And I have a video earlier that proves that that's not true. And you want to maximize. Don't just go jump into something and think that you're maximizing in your Endless Voyage or your Legion boss and it's working. That's not how this works. So be sure to go in there and physically up your weapons that you're choosing. Do not go in there at 1. And so we'll go ahead and challenge this with Phantom now. And like I said, we're going to try to get a high score. We're not holding back here. Let's see what we can do here. And see right there, guys, I made the mistake here that I didn't use the Thor. I didn't select it. And so right there, I just did exactly what you shouldn't do. But that's okay, because I have an extra play on this that I didn't account for. And this actually could be kind of cool too, though. So we know the straight Vulcan cannon is where it's at. So why don't we try this? Because I don't know if anybody's ever really gone this far. Use the Vulcan straight cannon with Phantom. And then we'll try it again, and then we will factually arm the Thor, and we should be able to get a really cool test out of this. I'm kind of glad that actually happened now. And so here's the only thing, and the one thing about it is boy, that transformation was taking forever, and I don't know if we were going to get a great transformation out of that. So we'll use this one as kind of the freebie, okay? And I'll show you what I mean by that also. But here, we'll go. Yeah, I was looking at my transformation there, just wondering why the heck is it taking so long? And that seems like a little downfall with the Phantom on that Legion boss. Boy, that was taking a long time, wasn't it? And then, okay, so here's what we're going to do. Let's put on the Thor this time the way we were supposed to do it. So that was kind of a freebie anyways, guys. That is interesting to maybe try the Phantom the right way. Don't get so caught up on the transformation on that. But try the Thor or try the Conqueror main gun comparison. Maybe I'll do that one after this week, and we'll try that. Because I don't ever hear anybody say, well, why don't you try the Conqueror with Sirene main gun or Phantom? It's always Thor. So, well, let's do this one again. Like I said, that was kind of a free one anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. I think we can so we need to do this one the right way here, guys. But man, the transformation on this one really takes a while. And I don't know if you guys have been noticing this, and I've been kind of wanting to bring this up, but I used to be able to do almost 4 transformations to 5 transformations on the Titan. And lately, I can barely even get to the 4th transformation. I mean, barely. And I think a couple of weeks ago, they changed the timer on this. I don't care what anybody says. I have a couple videos. You guys can go to my best video where I got 17 trillion basically on the Titan, and I had like almost 5 transformations, and now, like I said, I get out of that 3rd one and I can barely even get to the 4th one. And so I don't know if anybody else has noticed that, but going back to me just losing and taking a look at that transformation, did that not take forever? And I guess we'll see it again here. But I noticed that a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if anybody else noticed that. And so this is the ship and the main gun that everybody screams about. Hey, you should use this on a different Legion boss. And I think now I can do an actual Conqueror one. And look how long it's taken for that transformation to load up here. And by the time it loads, you're not even really going to have that much time to even... But right here, though, guys, you can see the Thor main gun here. Boy, does it really fly all over the place here and hit multiple targets. Okay, so 164, that's not bad, but boy, that Conqueror main gun when the Vulcan has just been king on this. And so right there, even with my little just, you know, Conqueror, there was no way that Phantom was going to do that. But Phantom is not the choice by other players to play on this Legion boss, but I figured let's just give it a try. And so let's do one more here. I think I have enough, so we'll leave the Thor. And the other fighters that everybody screams about using is basically Sirene. Now, I don't have Sirene fully together, so I'm going to do this in front of you guys. If I'm going to go do the test, what have I always told you guys? Make sure that you're maximizing it. We'll come here, we'll auto so that we can get the 15%. Now, a lot of players are always screaming, hey, make sure that Sirene's hit as low as possible before the transformation, and you should be able to get around 50% extra damage. So, but if you watched my video from yesterday, you guys better be on it, you know, to even get it down to 0 or close to that. I mean, you're really risking killing yourself before you even get to do the Legion boss in itself. And if you're doing that multiple times, maybe that's not the best way to use it. So I'm going to be a little cautious on how I do this on purpose for the general purpose of this. So again, make sure that you select your stuff. And we'll go back to the Legion boss. And so, like I said, that one wasn't that big of a deal. We had an extra one in there anyways from the comparison that I was going to do. But look how fast Sirene's transformation is going. So I'm going to take a couple of hits here, guys. Right there is good for me. I don't want to die. And so I'm going to go into Sirene's Furious form. All right, so I think we're not looking too bad here. Let's... So Sirene technically did do better than Phantom, which I'm a little surprised on. That's kind of cool to know. But again, on this Legion boss ground, it would, by far, if you have the Conqueror, use the Conqueror. That was the king of this little comparison. And then I'm going to do this on each Legion boss throughout the week. Again, some players, again, keep saying, hey, use Phantom on this one. It's going to be better than Conqueror. Use Sirene on this one. It's going to be better than all of them. And so throughout the week, I'll just kind of keep doing this comparison. I'll have that one little extra buy, basically, kind of what you guys saw. So maybe we can figure out something else to do with that extra, or if something goes wrong, at least we have that extra to finish off these comparisons. But pretty cool video. If you guys have any suggestions, or ships or weapon combos that you're doing that seemingly beat out something else, please leave a comment. Again, I always say this: if you have videos and stuff, send the video, send a link. And I always watch everybody's videos also. I'm intrigued on everybody else's tests. And if you have any other ideas for testing in the future, please let me know. I'll see if I can make it work. And then, again, don't be afraid to go out and try these yourself. Experiment with the game. That's what it's about, so that we can push each other to learning new secrets and tips, and just getting that high score. And then, as I always say at the end of the videos, just have fun, guys.